stages where you're singing the songs, you're doing the scenes, and it's like, oh God, you can almost taste it. Like,
I know.
But, well, congrats, you got it.
Thank you. I know.
How did you find out? What was that moment like? Where were you?
Oh, it was so surreal. Like I was at home in my flat, and I woke. Well, I was actually having a nap at the time. Classic. And
Yeah.
and I woke up to like the sound of my phone, and I was like, oh my god, who? You know, you're like really disorientated. And I was like, who is it? And I saw that it was my agent, and I was like, oh, this might be it. And I answered it, and he was like, hello, so like that, and I was like, hi. And yeah, he just said, oh, they really want you for the town production, because they were casting at the same time for the UK tour and for the London West End production. So he was like, yeah, they want you for London. And I was like, who do they want me for? Because I'd auditioned for like several parts.
Yeah.
For an alternate, and yeah, and he was like, oh, they want you for Seymour and Parr, and I was like, oh my god, it's like my two favorites. Yeah, it was just really surreal. I think it'd been like such a long build up as well, and prior to that phone call, like he had rung me before when I was doing my food shop in Aldi, and been like oh, they're 99. I was expecting it to be like the end, like, oh, you got it or you didn't. And he was like, you know, they're 90% sure on you. They just want to see you one more time. And I was like, oh my god, tell me more.
What else can I show them? Please.
Yeah, but it was so much fun, and they made it like as enjoyable as an audition process can be. So yeah, I was really lucky.
Well, thank God that was the case. And the fact that you've auditioned for it more than once, and because me and Hannah are good friends, I saw you after you auditioned for it the first time, and you were like, it was just amazing. And you said even though it didn't happen, it was just such an amazing audition experience because I learned so much from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important thing for young creatives to realize, is that any experience audition wise is always going to be valuable.
100%. And also what Pearson did so nicely, which I know is not always possible because sometimes you're there on such a tight time, you know, restriction, but they really put the time in to like work with you, and the directors from the show were there, and they'd be like, oh, let's just try it like this, or could you just think about this? And that for an actor is so wonderful, because you're like, there's nothing worse than if you don't get a job or you get cut or whatever, and then you ask for feedback and they're like, oh, we just needed a little bit more of this, and you're like, oh, I wish you'd have just said, because I didn't know that was what you wanted. And like, if you just have asked, but I appreciate that it's not always possible, but on that occasion it was just like, oh, thank you so much, because I can take that on and show you that I can like work with direction, and I think it all adds up to like hopefully being a nice cast member and a good member of the team. So
I'm sure. And going off that, the feedback, what was it like when you went into the rehearsal period, especially your first rehearsal, because you must have been so excited, but also your rehearsals were different because you were rehearsing for an alternate.
Yeah,
so they must
yeah, it was intense. Like I remember arriving, and I met Zara at my audition, and CJ actually, but I didn't know Colette or Shaka, who were also rehearsing at the same time. Colette had started a few weeks, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before us, and then Shaka, I think, had been doing it for a week. So it was like we'd been fed in by like drips and drabs. So like it wasn't sort of a usual rehearsal process. And then also because we were going to be alternates, and like it's a totally different process, which I'd never really thought that much about, to be honest with you. Just sort of, oh, you get the part, you go to the audition, you go to the rehearsal, and you start the rehearsal process. But I hadn't really thought about how that would be for an alternate. So it was really interesting because I'd never done it before. One of the things that was like quite challenging was that obviously we never had 6 people. So it started off, there was 5 of us, and then Colette made her debut, I think maybe like a week in, to when we joined her, or like 2 weeks in. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, she's superhuman, she's amazing.
Yeah.
but yeah, and then it just got less and less. Then Shaka left and she went and started doing shows, and we were like, oh my God, now we've got to try and run this show with 3 of us. And it's just like, it's so difficult when you've never done it with the full 6.
Yeah.
Like how they would say, like the choreographers, bless, like Freya would be like, right, so if you just imagine like Howard's there, and Arrogant will be there, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm really bad at that sort of thing. Like, you know, when someone takes you to like, I don't know, a house that's like not quite been fully built yet, and they're like, so if you just imagine this will be the kitchen. I'm like, I can't, sorry, I don't know. So I was like, I'm just gonna hope that this goes in on some level, and then when we get the 6 people, it'll be fine. And it was like, and I ended up getting put on a little bit earlier than was planned, which I actually think was a good thing for me because I'm quite an overthinker. So I think being thrown on with like a few hours notice was actually really good, because it was just like, don't think about it, just do it. Like, you're probably ready, and if not, no one's gonna die. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? So it was really good.
It was fight or flight mode. You were ready
100%.
to go.
Yeah, it was.
And what was your first show like then? Because as I know you said you were thrown into the deep end. Do you feel like you remember it, or was it like you come off stage and you were like, I don't know what I just did, but it was amazing?
Yeah, kind of. But there are some things that I remember. Like, it's mainly things that you do wrong that you remember.
Yeah.
I remember I stood in the wrong place for one bit, and Vicky was still at the show then, and bless her heart, she just like put her arm around me and just like moved me over to like the right position. I don't think, unless you've literally seen the show a million times, I don't think you would have known, but that is like the nature of the 6 company. Like, we are, I know it sounds like such a cliche, but we are like one big family, and everyone's got each other's backs, and that's so lovely, especially for an alternate, to know that whoever you go on stage with, whatever like combination of people that's going to be, they're always going to be there for you and have you and like support you. So it is lovely. And I remember right at the end, I basically sat on Shaka's lap because I went the wrong way into like the last bit of the last number. But yeah, stuff like that. But I just remember feeling like shell shocked in a good way, just being like, what just happened? Like, my mum and dad came, and Kane came to watch, and we went and grabbed a drink afterwards in a pub. I mean, remember that, when we could go to
Oh God, what are they, Hannah? I'm lost.
I know, it was amazing. Yeah, and my mum was like, oh, I think as I came off stage, they basically, something else happened. I think it was Maya, her voice was really tired, so they were like, oh, would you be able to do tonight as well? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I was like on this high, but I didn't want to like let myself sort of get carried away with it, because I was like, I've got to do it again. So like, we went for this drink, and my mum kept going to me, you all right, you okay? And I was like, I'm fine, mum. She was like, I know, you've got to concentrate. I was like, yeah, I can't like relax, because I've got to do this all over again. But yeah, it was amazing, and like the adrenaline rush was crazy. And like when we were on our way home, I was like, I need something to eat, because I've been so scared to eat much. Before, I think I'd had like a sandwich or something, but I was like dead. And I was like, Kane was like, oh, what about, because opposite the Arts where we used to be, there's a Five Guys, and he was like, oh, what about Five Guys? And I was like, yes. So I got like this massive Five Guys, and I was like chowing it down on the train on the way home. But yeah, it was just a crazy, amazing day. Like, I'll never forget it. It was brilliant.
That is literally like the dream, isn't it? And yeah, for those who are watching, me and Hannah went to school together, and we would often have moments where we'd sit in our school uniform and talk about this. So it's so incredible that we can have this conversation now. And
it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. But another great question, which I hadn't thought of, and we got sent this, and I was like, oh wow, what do you think of stage door? Do you enjoy it when you go back after the show? What's that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really get over the fact that like people care. Do you know what I mean? Like, not in a bad way. I just mean like, it's just me. Like, I don't know. I feel so lucky to do the job that I do. The fact that people want to take time out of their day to say, oh, I really enjoyed the show, or oh, could I have a picture? I'm like, just like blows my mind a little bit, to be honest. Like, I was talking about this yesterday, actually. Just like because someone asked, oh, do you like receiving gifts, or like, well, how do you feel when you get a gift, or have you had like fan presents and stuff like that. And I just can't, like, my brain can't compute that someone's taken time out of their day and out of their life to like make something for you because they like what you do. Like, it's just so lovely. Don't get me wrong, there are some times where I'm like, oh my God, I've done 8 shows this week and I am so tired. Like, I really want to be, because the thing is, if you're meeting someone you've never met before, you want to be like your best self. So like you want to be like your happy, bubbly self. And when you're exhausted, sometimes that is so hard. And I'm like, no, come on, these people have come, like, some people travel such a long way, and you've got to be like, no, come on, like. So in general, I really like it, but I'm not sure if we'll end up doing it again. You know, I don't know because of the way everything is now. I'm not sure if that will happen anymore in the same way. Maybe we just won't be able to go close to anyone. I don't know.
It's funny that you say that, because the question after that was, how do you think it will be going back to the show, and what changes do you think will be made? Obviously, you've already had that experience, kind of, because you went back for a little bit of time, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a lot of changes, and I think I struggled with that a little bit. I think because in the first lockdown, it was like, that was my goal, and my light at the end of the tunnel was going back to work. So it was always like, don't worry, when you're back at work, you're going to have the best time and it's going to be amazing all over again. And it was, but it wasn't the job that I'd left. Do you know what I mean? It was totally different. And I remember the day in rehearsal when they started talking us through all of the COVID protocols, and I was like, wow, like this is a lot. It was like, I mean, all to keep us safe and to keep the audiences safe and absolutely necessary, and they did an amazing job at NIMAX. Like, they were incredible, but it was just sad. Like, in rehearsals, we'd have to arrive to rehearsals, take our like outdoor clothes that we travelled in to London or on the tubes or whatever, take that off, put it in a box, all those clothes in a box, then take your rehearsal clothes out of your box or out of your bag or whatever, put those on, and like, you couldn't mix the two, and we had to wear, like, especially for us alternates, we would sit at desks for most of the time just watching. Like, we would get tapped in and out every now and then, but we had to sit at the desk with like our masks on and stuff like that. So it was really different. And the same when we moved into the theatre, it was like, oh, you must wear masks at all times around the building unless you're going down to the stage for the show or for warm up. So that was really different. And like, usually we'd all be in and out of each other's dressing rooms, and then it was like, no, stick to your dressing room, don't go and visit anyone. It was like, oh, okay. Like, it was just such a big adjustment. But I think, like, obviously we've got the amazing like breakthrough now of having vaccines, which we didn't have. That was still all, you know, going through the process of being finalized and stuff when we went back before. So now that is happening, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be better. I think it might be after I finish maybe my time in 6, it might go back to being more normal, like how it was before. But I think for the time that I have remaining there, like, it will probably be more cautious than it was when we started. But I think it just has to be at the moment, and as long as we're taking like tiny little steps forward, at least they're steps, do you know what I mean? It's just going to be a bit of a process.
Definitely. And I think that's one thing that probably we've all taken from this weird time, is that it's the small things and the small steps that
big time.
To lead to more. I'll ask one more question, Hannah, and then I'll let you enjoy your Friday evening.
Oh, thank you.
We had a couple of questions about advice. So what would be your piece of advice, specifically to sort of 15, 16-year-olds who are obsessed and love musical theatre? What would be your advice to them?
I think I would say, like, just throw yourself in whatever capacity you're able to. So if, you know, it's all very well saying like, make sure you go to drama classes or to dance classes, but not everyone's able to do that, like, financially. But in whatever way you can, just keep in touch with like what's going on in the musical theatre world or in the theatre world. Like, you know, research, and there are so many things on offer, like whether that be online, like what you guys are starting to offer with your like one-to-one sessions. Like, at the moment especially, most things are online, but even if, I don't know, you really admire someone who does singing lessons, but they're based in London and you're based in, I don't know, up north somewhere, like, there are ways. Like, I would just say, like, find what works for you, and like just try and hone in on your craft as much as you can. And it I mean, 15, 16, so you're in like year 10 and 11 then, aren't you? Like we were doing GCSE drama then,
Yeah.
and like all those sorts of things, like extracurricular stuff. School's a great place. I know not everyone has a great drama department. We were very fortunate that we did, but that's all for free. So like throw yourself into those projects, like anything you can. And like things like Lambda exams are really helpful. Like I know you've had experience with that, haven't you? Like it's a really good sort of stepping stone to getting towards the end goal. So yeah, I would just say, like, in whatever capacity you can, just try and keep practicing and learning. Yeah, I think, is that
I
right?
advice. I think whatever age you are, you're always able to learn, especially
Yeah.
in the creative world and the industry
Oh my
that
God, yeah.
you're
Yeah,
always.
like we've learned probably more, or if not like this, at least the same amount since leaving drama school as we did when we were at drama school. Like you never stop, and you get to work with amazing people and like different ages and different, like, people from different backgrounds, and you just soak it all up, like anything that you can. Like something for me that I did when I wanted to sort of like progress, I joined a local Amdram society that was like the one, you know, the best one in the area, like, and I, you know, made some of my best friends there and still love it and love them, and they're amazing. And what I loved about that was like it was people of like all ages. So I joined as a 15-year-old, and I could learn from someone. There was an amazing lady who went there called Sally, who'd gone to like Guildhall, like, and she was in her 60s then, but like she would talk about it, and like there were people who had like done it and then been like, oh, I just want to do it for fun now, or whatever, you know. And those people you just learn so much from, and other people who have, like, the great thing about Amdram is you get to play lots of different roles, more than you probably would do if, you know, you're in the actual industry. So that was always something really to learn from, because like lots of my friends would be like, oh, well, I've played this part, and you'd get to talk and learn from them. So yeah, I just think anything you can do, like, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but yeah, if you love it,
Yeah, just immerse yourself
I
in.
think so.
Oh, thank you so much, Hannah. I've had such a lovely
Me too. It's literally
Friday.
flown.
Yeah, to be fair, me and you could just talk for hours.
I know, and we do.
Yeah, and we do. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Do keep your eyes peeled, because we are releasing something special with Hannah in the beginning of February. So do keep your eyes peeled. A big thank you, Hannah. We love you lots.
Thank you
Umbrella.
so much.
And we will definitely see you soon. So
100%. Yeah, everyone get following. They're such amazing actors, these two. Like, you're not going to want to miss it.
Oh, stop it. No, thank you. Out of love, and see you very soon. Bye.
Bye. Love you.